British media is the least trusted in Europe. Pretty sure I've said that before. But BBC have just proved why it is that way with their coverage of Boris Johnson on Remembrance Sunday. Honestly, it starts to make my blood boil. I understand why you wouldn't want to repeatedly show the fact that the Prime Minister is a self-obsessed, narcissistic, bumbling buffoon who can't put a reef down the right way. I get that you don't want to show that. But instead the BBC decided to show footage of Bojo from a few years ago. Just don't show it. Because right now, you're lying. That's what it is. The BBC that we all pay for is now lying to us. Trying to shape a narrative that Boris Johnson is a competent, decent human being when he's not. This man can't even pretend to pay respects. He can't even pretend to feign interest. Despite the fact that he claims his hero was Winston Churchill, he can't even show respect for the generation that Winston Churchill was Prime Minister of. He put the goddamn reef down the wrong way. It has writing on it. And he couldn't do it. Okay. Okay, you're still back Boris though, right? Yeah, okay. But here's my big worry with this. And it does go a little bit far-fetched, I'll give you that. But George Bush Jr. was never meant to be the President of the United States. What happened was, and honestly, it blew my mind when I was reading through this, but Bush Jr. lost the popular vote, which isn't by default mean you lose the presidency, because Trump lost the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College. What happened was, Al Gore won the popular vote. And then there was a pause in the counting. Fox News then came out before all the votes were counted, before the ballots were in, and said that George Bush had won the presidency. He'd won the election. And all the other media outlets fell in line and jumped all over it. Yeah, Bush won, way! And that's how Bush won. But when you actually go back, when you look at the votes, Al Gore won the popular vote, and Al Gore won the Electoral College. Al Gore should have been President of the United States of America. It should have never have been George Bush. My God, what a world that would have shaped. Can you imagine it? But I bring this up because there's a few things that automatically give a handicap in favour of the Conservative Party when it comes to general elections. First and foremost, the system that we have, first past the post, favours Conservatives. Secondly, you have the media outlets. Most media outlets in the UK are right-wing, whether they're centre-right or more extreme measures like the BBC is heading towards. And yes, there are a few BBC figures that have been giving a hard time realistically just fact-checking some of the right-wing Conservative pundits who come on. But typically, if you want something favourable to the Conservative Party, you'll look at BBC. But yeah, we have a media that by and large favours the right wing. We also have a system in this country where a politician can lie. As long as they don't lie in the courts, they're fine. But Boris Johnson can come out and lie all day long that he is building 40 new hospitals, 6 new hospitals, 1 million new hospitals, and Jeremy Corbyn is a terrorist. Despite the fact that there really isn't evidence for this. But they'll jump all over it. He supported the IRA. He never supported the IRA. But the Conservatives literally have former IRA people in the party. They are literally members of parliament. But, you know, facts don't matter. So a politician can come out and lie. And legally speaking, there's no ramification for it. And given that most of the media is right-wing, a lot of the time they won't be fact-checked. It's actually amazing to see, especially when a conservative like Andrew Neil actually does his job and fact-checks other conservatives. It's pretty damn impressive. But then we have the more serious notions, Russian interference. Now we know that Russia interfered in the last general election, not just the US elections, but also in the UK elections. We know that happened. We don't know to the extent, but we absolutely know that them, along with Cambridge Analytica, influence people using targeted ads on Facebook. We know this happened. We also know that the intelligence community did a full investigation of Russian interference into UK elections. We also know that Boris Johnson will not release this. He won't release this information. The day before Parliament dissolved, you had ministers from Labour, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, but one of the members of Parliament was grilling a Conservative minister about this, saying, why won't you release this document? The intelligence agencies have said there's no reason why you shouldn't release this document, but the Conservatives are not releasing it. Point blank refuse. Maybe they'll do it after the election, but right now it ain't happening. That is an incredibly, incredibly serious threat to our democracy, especially when you have politicians who are coming out lying their asses off because they know by and large they won't be fact checked. They know by and large they can say whatever the hell they want and get away with it. They can make all kinds of promises and it doesn't matter because legally speaking they will not be held accountable. Coming up to this election, it is pretty damn important who you vote for. I will say this for Bojo, the cowardice clown. He has said something that I agree with. He said that we deserve better. You're goddamn right. We deserve better than the Conservatives.